4th down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey under pressure, throws it, incomplete. The Buckeyes win. Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making adjustments again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Shaw, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Shaw coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards.
Here they come.
Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. It's Smith. He's got it. Jeremiah Smith. The 2025 College Football National Champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation. With Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We got a special guest again, Blake Biscardi, coming to us from the Cotton Bowl at the hotel right now, the team hotel. How's it going, man?
Well, Steve, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Big day tomorrow, the Cotton Bowl. Everything's been wonderful so far. The Cotton Bowl does an outstanding job of hosting. Scotty does a great job. And being around both teams, especially Ohio State, you can see the edge in the eyes of the Buckeyes. So I'm excited for tomorrow, and we're going to be in for a treat.
Yeah, the edge. That's where we need to start. What gives Ohio State that edge? Is it the people that you asked Ryan Day about? Is it the culture they built? What is going on, man?
Well, it's a mix of both. And I asked that to Coach Day, and he said it starts with the people and having the right people inside your program, having the right people on your staff, the families. He gave a lot of credit to the families and to the wives of the coaching staff because of everything that they have to do. And he said it takes everybody, and that's players, coaches, families, administration, and Buckeye Nation, whether they're in person or they're on their couch. He said it takes all of us. And that edge for Ohio State is going to come from that preparation. Day has made it about them all year long. He said it's about us. And that's not changed right here going into the Cotton Bowl because their preparation, everything they've worked for, he said it's building to this moment right now. Could come to Ohio State to win championships. That's an opportunity that they have to do. Individual awards they follow. But he said everything's building to this right now. And we have to be at our best. And he said that's the ask of everyone in the program.
Yeah, and we might have a little bit of connection issues at times because Blake's on hotel internet, which sometimes isn't the best. But we got him on here. We got boots on the ground in Dallas. Man, it must be awesome being there. You know, the hospitality that the Cotton Bowl is bringing everyone. From what you've said so far, has been best of the best.
It has. It's all been top of the line. They've taken great care of us here at the hotel, great care of us over there at the stadium. And then being over at Media Day yesterday, just having access to both teams, the quick windows of practice that we got. And then again today at the head coaches news conference, then we saw that infamous trophy photo with the two head coaches, going head to head, shaking hands right there. That's now gone all over Twitter because it's funny if you look at the comments or the quote tweets of that picture of Day and Cristobal, the Ohio State fans are like, oh, there's that smirk from Ryan Day. Guys by 70. And then the Miami fans are like, oh, Cristobal's passing the green line because he's standing up and Day's a little bit angled. So they think that they have an edge. It's like it's just a picture. But I do think that there's an edge to Ohio State for sure. And they feel like they left something out on the field the last time. And they want to make sure that's cleaned up going into this game. So I think we're going to see the offense unleashed. And I know we're going to get into that in a minute with all the play calling because we talked today about that again today. But I expect to see a fired up, high octane Ohio State offense and then a lockdown smothering Buckeye defense.
you know that lockdown smothering defense is coming no matter what, because that's what they've done all season. I mean, even in the one loss that they had against Indiana, it was a lockdown smothering defense. It was hard to put points on the board. And you're talking about the number one team in the nation. This is where I want to get into, if we float back into kind of the coverage down there while you're there, we can. But I want to start with this defense, and Temple Brutus has got it right there. No Miami touchdowns. That would not surprise me at all. Their offense is really anemic. Texas A&M, I guess you could say, because of the high winds, but it's really been anemic all year. There's nothing scary. They had a lot of wide open holes for Mark Fletcher to get his 172 yards that he had last game. You're not going to get those wide open holes against K-Mac, against Sonny Styles, against Reese, against all the other guys on the defense, and guys from the secondary creeping up, because there's not a lot of threat in the passing game. If you go back and look at how far downfield Beck throws the ball, he's like 117th in the nation. I'm going off the top of my head as far as air balls downfield. And it boiled down to like 6.9 yards or something ridiculously small. And 60% of his passes were only going 5 yards or less. That he's not throwing the ball down the field. So we can close in, bring up those safeties, bring up that secondary, and play in a box, which is going to be very, very difficult to run the ball against this defense if they're creeping up like that.
I think even if they're creeping up and you're playing in a more compressed setting, that brings Caleb Downs closer to the line of scrimmage, and I don't know if that's good for any offense. I don't care what team it is. Anytime Caleb Downs is able to move closer to the line of scrimmage and really be involved, that does not bode well for opposing offenses. And I think for Miami, it depends definitely what Carson Beck shows up. If it's going to be good part Carson Beck, if it's going to be interception-prone Carson Beck, do the turnovers come? When do they happen? Those kinds of things, because now the spread is sitting at 9.5. And there's a lot of people who are all on Miami because they're reading into the offensive and defensive line, which is going to be a huge key in this game. But, Steve, just like you said, I mean, can Miami score 3 times? We've said this earlier in the season. Can Miami sustain 3 drives to go score? Because do you think Ohio State is going to score less than 21 points? Now, we just saw that happen against Indiana, but some things tilted the game that way for the Hoosiers. Ohio State left things on the field, scoring opportunities in short yardage. Miscues on special teams with a missed field goal. There were different things that happened. So will that happen again? You can't bank on that. So how does Miami defensively create those opportunities for Ohio State and hold the Buckeyes to less than 21, which doesn't seem super likely? I talked with a Miami reporter today, and he just said it's going to be bad. He just looked over at me. I was like, what makes you say that? And he used the same word that you said. They don't have an offense. It's anemic. And we've seen them score, but Matt Patricia is going to have something special dialed up here to slow down that Miami offense and really contain Malachi Toney. So it's hard to run the ball in Ohio State also. So if you're not Mark Fletcher and you're not Malachi Toney, because Ohio State can operate defensively, taking both of those guys away, who's that next guy on Miami's offense? So I think that's the big key for the Miami offense side. Carson Beck shows up.
Yeah. Who's going to be that guy like Indiana, man? They had their 4-string wide receiver just jump out all over us, which was crazy. We weren't expecting that. So you're going to need an unsung hero out of Miami to step up and do some of the dirty work. Yeah, because the defense locks down everyone else.
Right. So for Miami, they have to have somebody step up, but at the same time, Steve, I still don't even think if they have somebody else step up, that it's going to be enough. I think they have to figure out a way defensively to force at least 2 turnovers. I think they need to be +2 because Ohio State's not going to want to leave anything out on the field again. Ryan Day said today they're going to turn over every stone. And he said it's their job as the coaching staff to put those guys in the best positions possible to win. And yes, I know the heavy personnel sets, that's been a big deal for Ohio State fans talking about, what happened. And obviously those formations did not work. Those personnel groupings didn't work against Indiana, but they did see success with them against Michigan. And I think that's where it gets a little bit lost because If it goes in and it works, oh, he's a genius. But if it goes in and it doesn't work, then you're like, what is he doing? And so for Ryan Day saying we're leaving no stone unturned, to me, reading in between the lines there, I don't think we're going to see Jeremiah Smith and Cornell come off the field in those situations. I think they're at least going to stay on. I'm sure we'll see 12 personnel, but maybe we see a third tight end go out there. I don't know. But I don't think we're going to have situations where both of them are off the field, because anytime you take both of them off the field, it relieves a ton of stress from the defense. But even taking one off the field, you're like, okay, we can breathe and we can double the one that is on the field. So I think, I wrote about this in a piece yesterday. I said, if Miami's wearing an Aura ring, which I know is a big fad right now, that Ohio State's goal is to make Miami stressed for that 3.5 hours. And I think that's what Ohio State's going to do offensively. They're going to spread them out. They're going to show a bunch of different looks. And Ohio State has gotten hot running the football too later as the season has worn on, which is something that Ryan Day and company have wanted to see. And then that offensive line, that's going to be a big key to the game also. Likely Gabe Van Sickle starting the left guard.
Let's get into that, because that's really the rut of the situation. The 3 sacks that Tegra gave up, it looks like they were coming off of him. So that's 3 out of the 5 sacks. Gabe Van Sickle comes in there. No sacks were given up while he was in. This is one place that I do not think that most of the national pundits and most of those that don't follow Buckeyes closely know that it's really addition by subtraction, having Gabe Van Sickle in there. Why wasn't he in the earlier parts of the season? This is something that came across my head today. Maybe he's just not old enough, mature enough. He doesn't know the whole offense, like front and back, and he didn't trust himself, or the coaches didn't trust him yet. But you got 3 weeks in the off season to it feels like the off season, right? 3 weeks is
a long way off.
As long as they have to get trained up for in training camp in the beginning of the year. So that's another training camp basically you have to make sure he knows these plays in and out. Let's just say because of his age, he only knew 60% of the playbook. Like, got it down. I don't have to think about it. And that's what you need to do. You need to have the playbook down to where you don't even think about it, because you're going to have different wrinkles, different alignments, different reads that you're going to have to make, different adjustments that you're going to have to make in game. So you need to be able to react without thinking about the plays. And that's the difference. That's why sometimes when people are like, hey, this guy needs to be the starter, this guy needs to be the starter, this guy needs to be the starter right now. Maybe Bo Jackson was like that too. We don't know. We're not in there in practices. We don't know if he only could run a certain percentage of the plays. You can't have him out there all the time. And maybe Van Sickle has it now.
Well, I think what we've seen too from Ohio State and other teams around the country is you want to carry a quarterback along if you can, if you have that opportunity to just add things to their plate slowly. So I think that's definitely a factor with Gabe Van Sickle or Josh Padilla maybe coming in for Tiger Shabola here, who has practice but is still listed as doubtful. And once you get into the territory too with these guys, when they've played for 3-4 years within the program, at the same time, maybe there's an injury, whatever has happened. He's played meaningful snaps for Ohio State, and the results are the results. But when I talked to Gabe and Josh, they were sitting together, so I got to ask them both this at the same time. And I also asked this to Austin Sarabot. So I'll give you both perspectives here, one from them and then one from Sarabot, who's a co-part there. I said, guys, what gives you the confidence to know that you can go in this game and maintain the level of standard or even elevate it in that offensive line room? Why are you confident that you can go out there and perform to that level? And they said it really started with Tyler Bowen and how from the offseason that he has instilled confidence in them. So when you're building trust and you're building a relationship with guys, if your coach is already confident in you, then you in your psyche, okay, someone believes in me. So now there's belief. You're talented because you're at Ohio State. So that's not by accident. And then once you start getting game results in there, this is the second part to their answer. They said, we've had that confidence from Coach Bowen, but then we go into the games and we see that we can do it. We see that we can perform to that level. We get those snaps. We get those reps. It helps you. You build then in-game confidence. So you have the theoretical confidence. Hey, my coach believes in me because of what he's seen. And then when you go out and do it and back up that confidence with results, then you start to become a more confident player. I know I'm using the word repetitively here, but that was how they kept saying it. It's just all about confidence coming from the coaching staff that believes them, from each other, pushing each other, and just knowing that they can do it, finding that cohesion. I know we were laughing in the press conference about all the different nicknames that Carson Hinsman was going off about with the whole offensive line group. They're like, just called him Gabe. And he's like, who's Gabe? It's like, oh, Sicko. Just the camaraderie they have in that room is evident because they both said that this is a really deep room. And Austin Sarabald echoed that. When I talked to him, he said, it's a deep room. He said, everybody's going to play, whether you're rolling in rotation. Again, he said the same thing. It's the confidence coming from Tyler Bowen, and then the confidence of being able to know that the room is deep, and then it's next man up. And it's been next man up at Ohio State for as long as you can remember. But specifically these last 2 years, Ohio State's entering the college football playoff with an offensive line issue, with an injury, where you now have to replace guys. And how do you replace guys going through your biggest games of the season and still find success, still be able to elevate, still be able to hold your own and protect Julian Sayin? Because if you can protect
I'm going to
Julian
interrupt you
Sayin,
for just a second because it's kind of breaking it up, coming in, coming out. So I'm going to see if your video comes back, and then I'll know you'll be able to talk a little bit better. Gonna have some connection issues. There's probably a lot of people in the hotel right now using it. So I want to get to this. Raquan Williams was talking about if Jackson saying if they're in rhythm, on timing, I don't see us losing. The defense is always going to show up like all year long. Let's go Bucks. And I think that fits exactly into if Saying's getting protection, if Jackson has the holes to run it, if this offensive line is up to snuff, which I think they will be. We had a weak point, and I think that is fixed. And I'm confident in the coaches. I'm confident in these players that they're doing things the right way, just like last year. You give this team a little bit extra time to be hitting on all cylinders, and watch out. These guys are ready. You saw that video of the I guess it was an LSU guy heckling the team as they were coming off the bus. Man, they were just kind of laughing. No one got mad. No one was worried about it. Some guys were smiling at them. Some guys looked like they were like, "Come on, man, you have better things to do, right?"
Yeah, you even saw Arbo Reese at Media Day, not even related to that, where he just said, "We're here on business. This is a business trip for us. We're trying to get in, handle business, and keep moving."
Yeah. And that's exactly what we want from them. Exactly what we want from them. Well, and we're going to see. Yeah, your video is a lot better now. So probably also audio is pretty damn good. So chime in whenever. We're going to get Cody Croy on here in a little bit to talk about Buckeyes in the big leagues. Also, as you saw in our intro, going back all the way to 2002 National Championship, 2003 Fiesta Bowl, when Ohio State beat Miami. Man, this is kind of bringing back fan bases that have been going at it for 20 years, man, 22 years. So the intrigue into this game, you have Jeremiah Smith getting dogged on by all the Miami fans. He was even asked about, and I'm sure this was from a Miami writer, I would at least imagine, asked about if things were different, if Miami was hitting on all cylinders, would you have been there? And he said, I probably would have. Local guy. Do you blame him? No. And to me, that just sounded like an honest answer. Yeah. If they were going to get me in championship situations, I probably would have gone there. That's why he's at Ohio State. For rings, man. To get to the NFL, be developed, and get some rings. Why wouldn't you?
Right. And that's what Mario Cristobal is trying to build right now, too, which he is. Jeremiah Smith came out of high school when Jeremiah Smith came out of high school. There's nothing that he could do about that. Ohio State as a program is the top program. It's the premier one in the sport right now. Miami is trying to play catch up. And what you're going to have here is an evaluator game for Miami. Win or lose, you're going to evaluate yourself against one of the premier programs, if not the premier program in the sport. How do you measure up? How do you stack up? You can remember Urban back in 2012. He first gets to Ohio State. And he said, I went to the national championship and I saw Alabama. And he said, we did not look like that. So he texted everybody, the chase starts now. And they did. It was a 2-year process. And they get Alabama in the Sugar Bowl and they beat them. And that's when the chase was complete. But you had to win the national championship, again, to fully do it. But just retelling that story, he said that was the one against Alabama. And for Miami, Cristobal is building this program. And this is a measuring stick right here. How close are we to Ohio State? What do we need to – how can we elevate to get there? Or is this going to be a game where they either win or they keep it super competitive? And you know what? They look like they're on the same level. We're going to find that out. And another thing, Steve, going back to what you said about the national championship, someone asked Cristobal about that today. And he said, yeah, people bring it up. They've been around for a long time. But this game this year is about the 2025 Miami Hurricanes and the 2025 Ohio State Buckeyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, for sure. That's the only way you answer that question. You can't talk about 22 years ago. It has no relevance, number one. But what does have some relevance is if there's some pass interference calls, that's just going to be an all-time. Like, do you think the refs are going to have some hesitancy to throw a pass interference on Miami because of that? That's got to be in the back.
Maybe in the end zone.
Yeah. Or towards the end of the game, they're just going to hold the flag. They might even not have to hold the flag longer than they did before, because that was a bit of the controversy too.
It's true. We'll see how that all shakes out. I mean, if it's an obvious call, make the call. Like, that shouldn't be a factor either, just as you said. But it could cross your mind just as much, because people joke about it with officials like they want to leave alive. I mean, you know what I mean? I just hope that the officials don't make the game about them, where they're calling every ticky-tack thing, or they're not calling anything. You guys just get them all on the game. Just as the officiating crew, don't make it about you. Let the guys play football. Let football be football, and let the guys play.
I would imagine that there's going to be a hesitancy to call too many things. And, you know, I hear some other even podcasters talking about, I've listened to a couple Miami podcasts, and they're talking about the fact that our DBs are handsy. I'm like, you guys are jumping back to last year, man. Like, our DBs aren't really handsy this year. Our DBs are in the right spot. I mean, there have been some deep shots against us, but it's the game of football, man. We've corrected all those mistakes every time. I know we had some mistakes, like in the Big Ten championship game, and I think a lot of that was just the mentality of the team. Like, I think that they were just going through too much at one time, and as much as you don't want to say they needed a loss, they did. Some teams are just built differently. Some teams have different motivations. Some teams galvanize better under bad situations, and I think this is one of those teams, and that's the way they were last year. I think we're going to see a repeat of that.
Yeah, and certainly that's what you want. I actually talked to Sonny Styles about that specifically. I said, Sonny, just for you as a player, you grew up in Pickerington. You're an All-American now. You've beaten Michigan, have gold pants. You've won a national championship. I said, and now you have an opportunity to go repeat. And we saw something similar last year where you guys lost in a fashion where you had to go and run in the playoff. And now that happens again this year. I was like, what gives you confidence that you can go make that run? And he said, well, we've been here before. And he said, I also asked him about how all of those accomplishments, like what that means to him being a Buckeye. He's like, it means everything to me. He grew up with his heroes like Braxton or Zeke, and now all of a sudden Sonny is that hero for somebody younger than him. He's like, I want to represent that the right way. I want to set a good example for those guys. And he said, we have been here before, so they know from a leadership perspective what it takes to go on that run and to respond that way. Because, yeah, I'm with you, Steve. I think this loss for Ohio State, although it's not what they wanted, it's going to allow everything to get fixed. And it's like, okay, maybe that was the complacency game. Not so much that Ohio State got complacent, but there was so much going on where the game, yes, it was important, but there was 1,000 things that happened this week. And Ryan Day didn't make one excuse for it. That you took ownership, you take it off the chin, you lost, you didn't execute. Now your opportunity is to go out and execute. He said, we're going to revert to the level of our training. You don't rise to the occasion in these settings. You revert to the level of your training. And that's why he has emphasized routine and preparation. And that's how Ohio State is going to be able to go on that run if they're able to do those things again, because they know what they have to do. Mm-hmm. But they have to go out and execute. And that was Ryan Day's main message there, is we have to execute.
I want to switch gears a little bit and bring it on Cody Croy. I want to get your perspective, Cody, too, when you get the chance. You got a lot of background coming in on your.
Do I?
Yeah. When you're not talking. There we go. So I want to get some perspective about this. Yeah, it's back.
Yeah, shoot.
Anyway, so what I really wanted to get into was with Indiana being compared to Miami. Like if Indiana was able to do this, Miami should be able to. If Indiana had 5 sacks, Miami should be able to have 5 sacks. Miami's not Indiana. They're the 10 seed for a reason because they lost to 2 average teams. Yes, they have a good defensive line, but they don't have the number 1 rated team. They don't have an undefeated team. They don't have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Like, you can't compare these two teams. What Indiana did is not what Miami's going to do. Yes, they have a good defensive line, but they have no linebackers. Ohio State is going to be able to attack the middle of the field, and that's one thing Ohio State loves to do anyway. All their checkdowns are like outside, middle of the field, and Ryan Day's one of the staples of Ryan Day's offense is those crossing patterns, and they've been using them for years. So those crossing patterns are going to be wide open. Those checkdown curls are going to be wide open if they're playing deep with their secondary, which is what most teams try to do to negate the wide receivers that we have. Keep everything in front of you. Well, if you keep everything in front, that's right where their weakness of their defense is, middle of the field and those linebackers. Any perspective on everyone trying to compare what Indiana did to what you think Miami can possibly do against Ohio State defensively?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what their game plan is, you just got to come out firing. And yeah, I mean, I think what they could do, they're going to watch the film. They're going to see what we did. They're going to see the mistakes that we made. They could come out and do something similar. I think that's a strong possibility. So.
Yeah,
I was talking to one of the Miami reporters again today, and it was this same guy who said that, it wasn't going to be close. And I was like, well, what do you think Miami's going to have to do? He's like, well, in the secondary, they just don't have the cover corners to really take away Ohio State, or the safeties, excuse me, to really take away those wide receivers. So he thinks that they're going to have to run zone coverage. And Steve, to your point, you need linebackers to play zone coverage effectively. And if Sayin has a clean pocket, he is precise enough as a quarterback to go right ahead and just carve up whatever that zone coverage is and find a soft spot somewhere, because he has so many options across the field. Okay, Jeremiah's taken away. You got Carnell. Carnell's taken away. You got Ennis. You got Ennis taken away. There's a tight end, Will Kazmarek or Max Clare, or Jeremiah Smith again. Maybe it's a check down to Bo Jackson. You don't know. There's options all across the field for Ohio State, and it's a lot of options for Miami to take away.
And I want to bring up Adam Hicks' point, because absolutely the truth. A lot of Miami hype from an overrated SEC win over Texas A&M. And right now, is the Big Ten 6-0 in bowl games? Because
if Illinois just won, I believe
Illinois won on a field goal, walk-off field goal. Yeah. So 6-0, you got to give some credit for that. I know the bowl games don't count as much, and what's really going to count is what happens in the next 2 days.
Well, don't the bowl games only count when the SEC says they count?
Yes, absolutely.
How that works?
It's iffy. If the SEC beats the Big Ten in a bowl game that's not the playoffs, I'd probably say the same thing, because who knows what team's going to show up? Who knows what team's motivated? Who knows what players are going to show up? And for some of them, who knows what coaches? Even Ole Miss in the playoffs. That's absolutely crazy that they don't have their coaches and they're making a playoff run, man.
But a lot of credit to Pete Golding for that.
Yeah. And getting back to it more, Mark Fletcher, we talked about it a little bit earlier, the amount of 172 yards or 73 yards, I can't remember, that he had against Texas A&M. I said it before. You're not going to get that against Ohio State's linebackers and defensive line. It's just not happening. I mean, yeah, he's a good running back, a power running back, but our linebackers are huge, man, and they're fast. So a power running back is not going to do anything against these guys.
Right. Even talking to James Larnice about that, he's like, you cannot go one-on-one. He said it is not allowed. He's like, no, we don't allow that to happen. It's like those guys are going to shoot the gaps. They're going to be sound in their run fits, and everything that they have to do, those guys are going to attack. And Sonny even said too, he's like, I know that defense so well. I don't even think about what I'm doing. It's just he's doing it mindlessly because he knows it like the back of his hand, And what he's able to do is just attack whatever the offense does. He doesn't have to think, what do I have to do? It's boom, I'm flying to the football. And when you have a defense that's that talented, that intelligent, and able to attack and not react, that is why this defense is that good.
For sure. And now Matt Patricia has a wrinkle planned for Miami. I mean, just hearing that is scary with what this defense has done. The best defense in the nation. All right. Scary. And you think you're going to score more than 3 scores against Ohio State? It's not happening. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was a shutout. I know that's crazy to say. I would not be surprised. I don't know if their offense can muster up a score.
Wow.
It's hard to say that in the playoffs, but it wouldn't be. I'm not gonna say I'm predicting it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I would really tip my cap to. I would really tip my cap to Matt Patricia and the defense if there was a shutout in a quarterfinal game. I really would. I mean, obviously you can see it because of how good this Ohio State defense has been. And if Miami decides to have an off day on the offense or Carson Beck those 3 interceptions, I mean, I can see where that exists. I would be surprised if there was a shutout.
Yeah, maybe that's a little overreach. But I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh.
Sure.
They just cut him out.
I think it's less surprising than Miami scoring 28 points.
Correct.
Looking at it in perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they probably score twice. If I'm guessing right now, it's 24-10, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go ahead and go with a prediction since I already did?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So you got me early on this one. I think Ohio State's going to score.
You thought that was
Ohio State's going to score. I did. I've been debating back and forth if it's going to be Ohio State's going to score 27 or 28. And Coach Day said today that they're going to go with Jaden Fielding again. I don't know that they're going to give him a field goal attempt. So they're going to show confidence in him if they have to. But I think if it's 4th and manageable to get, that they're going to go ahead and go for it. So I'll take Ohio State 28-13.
28-13. Yeah. I don't think that Miami's going to score more than any other team has this year.
Right.
And so that's going to be 16 or less. I don't see it happening at all. I don't think Carson Beck is really that good. I do think they have players. They have NFL caliber players, but most of those guys are on the defense. Does Carson Beck make an NFL roster?
Maybe as a depth guy. I mean, his trajectory has changed a lot since early on at Georgia. And that's what's tough. I mean, now he can play his way into an NFL roster in this college football playoff. But, I mean, his task is as tall as the Empire State Building if he wants to do it, having to go through the Ohio State defense and then potentially Georgia and potentially Indiana. I mean, that would be an all-world defensive gauntlet for Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be his only path to really playing as a true high draft pick starter if he could go ahead and do that.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, there's still time to prove it against the best of the best, right?
Right.
These comments. Everyone's saying about the same thing, 27-9 for Temple of Brutus.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC is currently 2-5 in bowl games. And this is the conference that gets 5 teams into the playoffs.
We're going to see how deep the conference is and how top-heavy it is.
Obviously, it's not deep. It could be top-heavy. Because that was the whole argument that the SEC is a deep conference. Well, you're losing the majority of your bowl games. So if the top can win, then you at least have something, right?
Yeah, because the SEC has 2 playoff losses already, but one of them was a conference game. So,
correct.
It's hard because they had to lose the one. But then losing to Miami is a tough look.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only teams that have lost in the playoffs so far are the SEC and a group of 5 team. 2 group of 5 teams.
Sure.
But second round, we'll see. Fletcher is Miami's version of Master Teague. He has no wiggle. That's a fair comparison. 31-10 from Coconut. Oof, I don't know. 31 points. You see us putting up that much?
Huh.
I think this defense is good enough, but if they can attack the middle well and have a good amount of design passes to the middle, opens up the deep ball. Yeah, I could see us scoring a lot of points.
Steve, you think about 2 turnovers. I mean, if turnovers tilt the game one way or the other, let's say Carson Beck, just by trend of what the quarterbacks have done. Julian Sayin throws another early interception. Miami gets a short field. They get on board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one thing. Or Carson Beck throws between 2 and 4 interceptions, and Ohio State gets a couple short fields. That tilts the game toward more points, because I think turnovers are going to be a big factor because they've really hindered Miami in their losses, and then they've made the last 2 games uncomfortable early for Ohio State. Ultimately, the Buckeyes lost the Big Ten championship game. But that Michigan game, when saying through that, you're just kind of like, here we go. You just and they said it. They're like, oh, is this going to happen again? And you got to regroup. And so much credit goes to Julian Sayin for staying poised. And he said that. It's like, you got to stay poised in the noise. So you got to be the calm during the storm for the offense and for the team. And everyone's going to mirror what he does as the quarterback. So he has to stay steady and even keeled, which he does. I mean, his poise has got to be the best that we've seen in a long time. And he's a young quarterback. He still has another full season of college football to play, plus another offseason of development. We've seen how far along he's already come. And I actually think that we're going to see him take his game to even another level in this college football playoff. I think that the Buckeye offense is really going to be the thing that gets unlocked. I think they're going to turn the keys in the ignition tomorrow.
Yeah, when it's time to turn up the gas, they will. Well, it's time. It's the playoffs. If there's any time to turn up the gas, it's now. And we're going to see that starting tomorrow. They are going to air the ball out more than you've seen. But they're not going to just take willy-nilly deep shots. This isn't a computer game. We're not playing this on Xbox. This is on the field. So they're going to set up those long balls. And you know what I want to see more of? The counter run schemes that they had last year in the playoffs. I don't know where those went all year. There was here and there, but man, those counters were beautifully set up. They had pulling center, pulling guard, pulling tackle even at times last year.
Can you pull Tiger Shabola?
Probably.
That could be where they went.
Yeah. Well, that's what they did because Gabe Brunsick was going to be in. They pulled him, but out of the game.
Fair. Well done. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to apologize because the internet connection probably isn't the best for Blake, but he is boots on the ground at the Cotton Bowl, right in front of. Go ahead, move your head a little bit so they can see that sign behind him. There we go.
There we go.
Perfect spot. Perfect place for it. What else do you think are going to be keys to the game? Anything that you got, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my biggest key to the game is find number 4. That's that pretty good thing if you want to win. Defense, they're gonna have to be lights out. They're gonna have to exploit Carson Beck's weaknesses. I don't think he's a very good quarterback, as Blake was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's particularly great. So definitely feel like the defense should be able to take advantage of him. And it's really establish a run game.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson, he's got to get it going. So
I think it starts with our offensive line, establishing protection, establishing a run game, like you said. The protection is going to be key because we just got to keep. They have really good defensive ends.
Yeah,
the best we're probably going to see, or best that we have seen at least so far.
How will Van Sickle fare in his first start? That's a big deal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if
really
you're playing the full game, that's different than a little bit at the end. Just coming in and cleaning up.
In a playoff game.
He's had major experience. You're talking about the Big Ten championship game against the number 1 team in the nation. not too concerned about that. I don't think
No.
the spotlight's too big for him or anything. It's just doing it for a sustained amount of time is different than just coming in and filling in and role-playing positions.
You know, if it's indicative of what Luke Montgomery looked like last year, I think that we'll be in business. You know, Luke Montgomery, he didn't get his first career start was in the national championship game, right? Or was it against Oregon?
I think it was against Oregon.
Okay. So, excuse me. Yeah, I can't remember which.
I think he started against Tennessee.
Was it? I thought it was Oregon, or I don't know.
I believe he was right after the playoffs, right after the Michigan game.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he started against Tennessee. I have to go back and look.
Either way, if it's indicative of what he did in that playoff, I think that we'll be in business.
I like what Adam's saying for his keys to the game too. Keeping Sayin clean, mitigate pressures, pick up the offensive pace. That's the big one. The pace on offense needs to pick up and put pressure on the other team.
I think too, with picking up the pace of the offense, we've seen Ohio State dictate and dominate the game the way that they've wanted to. So you may see Ohio State start early, or start fast early, and then if they feel they have complete control of the game, then they try to just dictate it and just play back slow and just squeeze the life out of the teams. I mean, that is certainly possible too, because Ohio State can play both ways. And I think that's going to be something to look out for Ohio State, where the first half and the second half may look different. If Ohio State goes into the break and they're up by 14, they're going to maybe approach the second half a little bit differently, where they say, okay, ball control, we're going to now take longer to score. Not to say that they're going to turn down the gas. They just may not do it as fast. Like in the second half against Michigan, they took that long drive. It was efficient, and they just took their time. It may look something like that. It's not that, they're not going to score anymore because we're comfortable up 14. No. They're just going to bleed some clock. They're going to impose their will and try to score that way.
Yeah, I'll go with the Louisville route, hit them quick with passing game. And kind of like you said, I mean, you got to read how your defense is playing, how your offense is playing, and the flow of the game. Like, you could start quick, like you said, and then take the foot off the gas a little bit if needed and rely on your defense. I do think Ohio State is Ohio State, so I don't know that we get that offensive, quick play calling. I think that they're going to play how they play. Take what the defense gives you. Don't wait too long for things to develop downfield. Like Sayin said in his press conferences before they went out to the Cotton Bowl, he's got to make those reads. If there's a 5-yard pass open, take that 5-yard pass. Don't wait for it to develop downfield, because you never know. You might make that mistake and hold on to the ball too long, or it might not open up yet. So you just got to read the game, and you got to play within your style. Is there a style to air it out early and often?
It can be.
I don't know if this team it is. I think they can, absolutely, but you got to have an offensive identity. I don't think that it's ever really been established. It'll be interesting to see if that happens in the playoffs, because it definitely did last year.
Yeah, and that's how all of that is going to work for Ohio State. Is they're going to try to do that because they have their receivers do it. They want to jump on teams. And Ryan Day said today, you want to start fast, and I think that's what they're going to try to do. Like, they saw the deep shot on the first play against Michigan. They may not throw the ball 30 yards down the field, but they're going to start. They're going to start fast and try to stretch the field and score.
This is actually, that's respectable. If the Canes are going to win, that's going to be the type of score that it is. It's going to be a 17-10. The last 2 times Ohio State has lost.
Think about
13-10. So, yeah, if you're going to win, that's probably going to be what the score is. Something along those lines.
Right. And how the team's profile can see that style of game happening. Can Ohio State win that style game? Yes. But that's why it's going to come down to execution in that play too. And I think also Brian Day said today with the offensive play calling, we know that he's going to be the primary decision maker, so that we know. But he said today that Brian Hartline's going to come down from the booth and be on the sideline to help the wide receivers and, to still be involved in everything. Keenan Bailey will go upstairs and he'll be in the booth to help organizationally. And they're going to make that switch on game day now for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that means Brian Hartline is actually going to be the wide receiver coach, right? I mean, if he's coming down on the field, that means he is actually, some of that, you thought maybe it could just be, something that they're saying and they're going to stick with their same approach. But I think in order for Hartline to get through this and to be able to do what he needs to do, the best of the best that he can for both sides, for USF and for Ohio State, that was the right choice.
Yeah.
The Ducks are
Hartline being on the sideline. Yeah, Hartline being on the sideline is going to help the wide receivers because you're going to get that more one-on-one coaching real quick, immediately, which I think is going to be an added benefit to that. And Keenan Bailey, Ryan Day said he had really good things to say about Keenan Bailey today, which I know we know, but it's just not talked about as much as it probably should be. And Day said that today of how much he does for the offense behind the scenes and how involved that he is. And so you're going to see his fingerprints are on everything, Keenan Bailey, and you're going to see that even more so in the Cotton Bowl. Now with him getting to go upstairs and see the field from a different perspective, on game day being up in the booth. And, he's been up there before, but we're going to see, again, how this dynamic works now with everybody.
For sure. You need a good analytical mind that you can trust that's going to be eyes in the sky, seeing the whole field to relay that information down to you. So obviously Ryan Day really trusts Keenan Bailey. If he's putting him up there to be that guy that's giving you that input. Because think about it too. You have Matt Patricia down on the field as well. That's another guy you could use to kind of analyze and help you offensively. What better to help you offensively where to attack than a defensive mind? But he's down on the field too. So you need someone up there to actually help you flow through the game, to decide what plays, how you're setting plays up based on alignment, based on coverages. And you can see that a lot better from up in the box than you can see anything down on the field. It's happening so quick down on the field, you don't get a chance to have that stale environment where there's nothing else coming around you. And you need someone that's able to concentrate, that's able to relay that information quickly too.
Oh, absolutely. And Julian said that yesterday. He was saying, we've been offered, it'll be the 25-day layoff as of tomorrow, but going against that defense every single day in practice, he's like, that is the best practice that you can get is you're going up against Matt Patricia and that really talented defense every single day. And I think that's an advantage for Ohio State too. And to have Patricia on the sideline and Harlan on the sideline, those are two of the best minds on your staff, and they can do the real time help and coaching in game. I think that's a huge asset for the Buckeyes.
Getting all these Canes fans coming in here. Hey, why are these tickets so cheap right now? Because
maybe it'll be a push to get these games on campus in the quarterfinals, but there's a lot of travel that's ahead. That's the thing. I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan, yes, it's awesome to come to Dallas, but the school of thought is this team is going to go back to back. And if you're thinking, okay, am I going to save it for Miami? Am I going to go out to Phoenix? And Ohio State's been in the Cotton Bowl the last 3 years. So there's all different schools of thought out here with the tickets. And then is Miami going to travel? It's really the main reason.
Yeah. And imagine if it was Texas A&M. Those tickets would be so expensive. Now you can get some for $50. $50. That is insane. I never would have thought that with the college football playoffs, but even last year the Rose Bowl tickets weren't really that much. I think the second round
would be affordable.
I think the second round needs to be a home game too, to the higher rated seed.
Right.
Can you imagine that if Ohio State had to travel back to Oregon again last year? Crazy that environment would have been.
Oh yeah, it would be insane. Or a team like Oregon this year, just speaking of the Ducks, if they go to the national championship game, they had a home game. They're flying to Miami for the Orange Bowl. They fly back to Oregon. Then they would fly to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, fly back to Eugene, and then fly back to Miami and come back to Eugene for the national championship game. That's a lot of travel. And again, the short end of the straw there, short end of the stick, but it's just a lot of travel. So
that's true. That I didn't even think about that. That they would be, I guess Texas Tech would have a lot of travel to do as well. Not
right, but Texas Tech is coming from the middle of the country, and you're going Pacific.
You're on the west side of Texas.
Yeah,
so that's pretty far out there.
Yeah, it is out there. Yeah, Lubbock is. Yeah. That's true.
Texas is a big damn state.
Yes, it is.
Probably takes you 8 hours to get to Lubbock driving from where you're at in Dallas.
Probably, because I think Houston's about 4 hours, someone said.
I love these comments. Has a fake Bo Jackson at running back. Well, you're about to see him. So
his name's actually Lamar.
Yeah, it's actually a nickname.
Both.
Expect a close game. A surprise for me would be if Miami runs up the score on Ohio State. That would surprise me too. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got to get into it. So I thank you, Blake, for your time. Is there any other things that you wanted to go over about your time there so far?
I think it's been a really great experience, and again, the Cotton Bowl has done a great job. But seeing up close this Ohio State team now, compared to where we saw them in August, and how they have progressed, and seeing all this come out on the field tomorrow night, I really expect this team to be locked in and to play laser focused. And how this team carries themselves always impresses me. But seeing them handle this moment and the poise that everybody has, the character that these players have, and Coach Day and all of his leadership, that is jumping off the page at you. And I've even heard some of the national guys talk about this and some of the Miami media. It just jumps off the page at you at how poised this team is. And they said today that this is still a really young team. And so for a young team to be this composed in this big of a moment tells me that they can handle it. Whether or not they win the national title and go back to back, this stage is not going to be too big for them, and they're going to be able to handle that. And that's a lot of credit to the guys that they recruit to now develop into these players with that coaching staff. And where Day talked about it, from the recruits to the players to the coaches to the administration to the staff to the families to the wives to Buckeye Nation, how it takes everybody. It is evident at the culture inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. It spreads across the great state of Ohio and throughout Buckeye Nation. It's jumping off the page at you, and I'm excited for these guys to have another crack at it tomorrow night. Yeah,
it's going to be fun. It seems like the longest wait I've ever had for Ohio State Buckeye game. It almost seems like the start of the season.
Yeah. You feel like you're about to run in the Kentucky Derby, and you're in the gate, and you're waiting for them to open, like that pent-up energy. And then you're going to run out of the tunnel tomorrow night, and it's just boom. And foot on the gas, let's go chase a championship again because Ohio State football is back. That's how I feel right now, that this team is in the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby, and they've got 3 legs to get the Triple Crown to get a national championship and go back to back.
I don't know about you, but I actually think the time off was good for this team. I think they needed it. They needed to
get healthy.
They needed to just quantify things, to decide what they wanted to do offensively, to establish their dynamic at the offensive line too, because they got to be a cohesive unit. And if you're getting a new starter in there, it's important to have some time with your new dudes to go against the best defense in the nation.
Oh yeah.
So I think they're going to be prepared, and I think they're ready to roll. And I think, and you were there front row, that smirk that Ryan Day had on his face when he shook Mario Cristobal's hand, he's like, "You got me once, man, not again." That's what it said to me. I don't know.
Well, I noticed 2 things there. 1, the smirk, but 2, when I said this just because he was looking at me, I asked Coach Day a question. The intensity in his eyes when he is listening to me talk to answer that question, you can see the competitiveness that's in there, like just how locked in that is. And I know we're reading into a lot with that, but you can see it, and the team's ready.
Yeah. Well, he said earlier in the season, if you want to know the intensity of a man, you look into his eyes.
Look into his eyes.
Yeah.
Your eyes lead to the soul.
That's right.
And
Right on.
what playoff coach day means. So.
Yeah. I mean, national title, man. When you start saying stuff like that after a national title, it just means more.
It does. It does.
All right. Well, I'll let you get out of here unless you got anything else that you want to talk about from your time down there. But, man, enjoy your time. That's going to be awesome.
Thank you. I will. I'm excited. And it's going to be good tomorrow night. And I know we're going to have more coverage, and we'll see what we can do post-game tomorrow night. Hopefully we've got some confetti falling on us as we ring in the new year.
That's right. Hey, no more kicks wide left with
No.
the new year coming in.
Yeah, I actually talked about that today. I was like, I'm glad we're an hour behind here in
That's
Texas
true.
because it avoids the midnight kick or ending to a game that's going to locally kick off at 6:30. That would require a repeat of the national championship going to double overtime, I think, to even get close to that. So we should be clear of midnight at the end of this ball game for sure.
Good. And I don't want to see a 13-10 score either.
No, I don't.
those bode bad for us.
Right. That's a bad ball.
Well, thanks again, man. You take care. Get some sleep. Have some good coverage tomorrow, brother.
Thank you. Will do. I will see you guys on the field tomorrow night.
All right, man. God bless.
God bless.
Cody, people are already talking about it, but before they do, let's get into this. I agree. Adam, from the locker room, bring the games back to campus, move the playoffs up, Final Four, make the bowls, and the Rose Bowl, the Natty every year.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds enticing to me. I don't know about having the Natty at the same place every year, only because that would be, I don't know. I mean, the travel time, occasionally you want to, you need to rotate the Natty.
Well, and
places in the country, even in the Midwest. I mean,
gotta make this.
Yeah. Got to make that money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and with the tickets, yeah, they must have released a pile of non-bought Miami tickets, and I think that's exactly what it was, because it was $80 standing room only a week ago. Now the whole 400 level is under $45 a ticket.
Wow.
$30.
I looked
awful.
When I looked, it was 50.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, you're getting like 30-yard line lower level tickets for like $200.
That's insane.
Yeah,
insane.
It happened last year too. It's just, when there's not the closeness of the teams, both these fan bases are hoping for, the next run. And I know Miami doesn't have a lot of graduates compared to Ohio State, so it's harder to sell tickets, man.
Right.
And they're in Miami. They don't want to leave that nice South Beach, man.
Yep. And I don't blame them.
I'd expect a close game. We already talked about that one. They'd be surprised.
Yep.
Let's go for an NIT tournament playoff games. Give the group of 5 their own playoff unless one is in the top 12. I don't know top 12. I think that if you're in the top 20 as a group of 5, you should qualify for the playoffs, because we don't really know how good you are. And it's harder for you to get into the top 12 as a group of 5 because you don't play the games on an everyday level, and you don't get seen every day by the national media. I think if it's a close game similar to Ohio State versus Indiana, but Miami's O-line and D-line are better than Indiana. I think that's very naive of you to say, because there's a reason Indiana is the number 1 team in the nation, number 1 seed in the college football playoffs. So comparing yourselves to them is probably wrong. At least that's what everyone else in the nation thinks. And why didn't Miami win out? Why aren't they 12-0, 13-0? There's a reason they're not. What isn't debatable is your quarterback, wide receivers, linebacker, and secondary aren't better.
I thought Malachi Tony was the best in the nation.
We'll see. Head coach too.
And you can't out-recruit Ohio State.
This is interesting. 16 teams, first 2 rounds at homes. I agree with that. Semis and bowls. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm looking for. I think that there should be a play-in game. I get that everyone wants to have the group of 5 to have their own playoffs, but I think there needs to be a playoff game for them to be or play-in game. Sorry, for them to be considered for. If 2 teams that qualify, because you don't know their first round game needs to be a play-in game.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is just getting rid of the automatic bids. That has to go. The automatic bids.
All automatic bids have to go?
No, well, let me rephrase. The automatic bids for the teams that don't deserve it, for the conferences that don't deserve it.
Yeah, it's got to be a case-by-case basis. I get the point of it, but sometimes they're just.
I do.
Once you have the 12 to 16 teams, I don't know that you need that anymore. You needed that in the earlier eras where there was maybe, I don't know. I'm going to stick to my point. I want there to be a play-in game for the group of 5. 2 teams, 2 highest rated teams in the group of 5. That team gets the shot at playing against all these other teams. So at least it's the best group of 5.
That'd be interesting.
Use the minor bowls. That's a really good point, Sage. Auto bids belong. It's not an invitational. It's a not a playoff. If it's not invitational, it's not a playoff. All right. There's some, or you're just going the best 12 teams in the nation play each other.
Right.
And why are they rated? Again, off-season stuff. We got football tomorrow and some of the best football in the nation. Why are we talking about group of 5s? I don't care anymore.
Yes,
I really don't. Ooh, what's up from freezing 39 degrees in South Florida?
Wow.
Ohio State Buckeyes. Really? Is it 39 degrees in South Florida right now?
Looks like Brian Hartline's Ohio rubbed off.
He's bringing it down there?
Yep.
And Mr. Bucknuts, it's in the teens in Cleveland. Wow.
Yeah, it's cold here.
I think we're going to see a separation. We're going to get back into it. We're in that rabbit hole. We're going to see a separation of the group of 5 and the Power 4 conferences now because of NIL. If they're good enough, they're going to make their way up to a big boy program, or at least someone's going to try to get them.
Yeah, for sure.
Says 53 degrees.
Oh, I get you.
So someone was already talking about your Buckeyes in the big leagues.
Yes, sir.
Already brought it up. Here we go.
Let's
read your article already. Let's just get into it. Buckeyes in the big league. Week 17 recap. Smith and Jigba at 1,700 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns. Wow.
Yep. And that 1,700 mark currently leads the NFL. And he's 4th in receptions with 113. And then he is also 5th in touchdowns with 10. So top 5 in every category. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and he wanted to say that LSU was wide receiver U.
Yeah, I think
it was a motivational factor. Yeah,
and it's so amazing to see what happens whenever we have a healthy Chris Olave, and Chris Olave with good quarterback play. Not to hate on Justin Fields, but I think that whenever Garrett Wilson gets his franchise guy, he's going to take off.
Yeah.
So
Sawyer got an interception. Yeah, Sawyer's starting now.
My Brown,
Young, Ward, Simon.
Yep. My Browns won the game, but I was pretty happy to see Sawyer do what he did.
Yeah, those are tough ones. Like when I see Simon get that interception, I'm like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
If that wasn't against the Bengals, I would have been a little bit more happy about it. I was like, can I hate this and love this all at the same time?
Tyreek Williams, he got his first career sack despite the loss.
Oh.
So that was pretty significant.
Nice.
The Browns, as I mentioned, they won. And Jerome Baker, he had 5 tackles. Denzel Ward, they went at him 3 straight times in the last series. Aaron Rodgers targeted the receiver 3 straight times. That was on Denzel Ward. And Ward said after the game, I don't know why you do that. So clearly Denzel's confident. He's going to make his 5th Pro Bowl. So he had a pretty nice performance.
Heck yeah.
Cody Simon, as he mentioned, 15 tackles. That's
Did he have 15 tackles too?
he had 15 total tackles.
Holy hell. I
I
didn't
think
know that.
he had 9 solo and 6 assists.
Damn, that's damn good for a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Wow.
And then
All right.
who I really want to talk about is Chase Young. Young, he has struggled with injury throughout his career really badly. But he looked like vintage Chase Young. He had, let's see, what did he have? He had 4 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. He now has 8.5 sacks on the season. That's what we expected from him from the get-go.
Mhm.
But injuries have just plagued his career. I think that he's finally getting back to where he was whenever he won Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I want to get into what we were talking about earlier, but right after this comment. Want to see Indiana pound Bama by 20.
Yeah.
Is in the 30s last night and tonight in Houston. It's supposed to rain at the Rose Bowl. Surprisingly, I just got back from LA last night, and it rained 2 of the days that we were there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
It rained a lot too.
Yeah.
And this is going to be like the first Rose Bowl since like the 50s that has like any significant amount of rain. Supposedly they're supposed to be about 2 inches. Now, who does that bode well for? Indiana, it has a strong passing attack, but you need to have a good running attack, and
Right.
Alabama is one of the worst running teams in the nation.
Right.
I think that they were 117 in rushing.
I don't even know who the running back is.
Yeah, no one does.
I have no idea who the
That's a
running
good
back
point.
is.
I have no idea either.
Did we
That's not something you usually say either. Who's the
I know.
Alabama running back? That's like the first time anyone
Derrick Henry, Najee Harris,
Yeah.
Damian Harris?
You can name all the other ones, but not this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Did we talk about DJ Jacobs?
We did not.
We got to talk about him.
We
Surprised
definitely did.
Blake did not mention that.
Got
So
a
the
win
Buckeyes-
over Miami before playing against Miami.
But it's not over. It is not over. DJ Jacobs, the number 1 recruit in the class of 27, chose Ohio State defensive lineman, a guy that I would consider to be generational.
Mm-hmm.
Dare I say generational? Just a rare combination of size and speed that you don't see at the next level. Anticipation, unbelievable player. However, he is still weighing his options. Just because he is committed, his commitment is not shut down by any means. So this will be a race until signing day. Ohio State, they're going to have to pay up. They're going to have to keep impressing him. So it's not over.
Ooh, both teams throw a lot, but Indiana is more balanced. 34-20 Indiana. I would be impressed if I saw that. To be
A
honest
lot
with
of a lot of love for IU. Gotta show some love for Alabama. I mean, I know we want the Big Ten team to win, but also Alabama is still Alabama.
you. I don't know that they are.
Not Nick Saban Alabama, but I think the pedigree is still there to an extent.
The look on his dad's face is interesting to me because if you have that, like maybe just
His
maybe,
dad, former Georgia Bulldog, late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
He played, I think he was a D lineman. His name is also, I think he's a junior. So, yeah, we'll see if it sticks. But his father did not look happy.
No, not at all.
Did not look happy.
And yeah, Jeremiah Smith was a great grab for us, and he is from Miami Gardens, Florida. So
Yes, went to Chaminade Madonna. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
And back to Jacobs, his family looked miserable with him picking the Buckeyes. They wanted him to go. Yeah, I'm sure they wanted him to be a Bulldog all the way.
That's Legend Bay all over again.
For sure. Oh yeah, only in reverse. His family didn't make him pick it. Like,
Yeah.
At least he was able to pick.
Right.
And that's hard because like it's his decision. He's got to live with it. He's got to be in that environment. You gotta pick where you're at. You can't pick for what your parents want.
At the end of the day, I know that the saying is the parents know best, but also this is a kid's decision. I think that when you're in on these visits, you know your goals, you know how you see how you can envision yourself in an offense or defense. So I think ultimately it is up to the recruit. I think it should be up to the recruit. Parents can get involved at the end of the day. It's their kid, but sometimes it's too far.
For sure. Oh yeah, going back to this, time flies. I was 26 in 2002.
I was -5.
I was closer to Cody's age. That's for sure. I was almost your age. I was a little bit older than you at that time. But you watched this game for the first time ever.
I did watch it on.
Did you get all the way through it?
So I watched it in bits and pieces. I watched the important stuff.
Okay. You fast forwarded through the drama of one of the best games ever.
Listen, I was busy this week, so I had to. First of all, we're not going to talk about that play at the end of the game. It was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
The refs called what they called.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. I was watching the first quarter, and not a lot was going on. Not a lot was going on. Second quarter was a little better, but that second half is where it kind of picked up, and definitely a heck of a game, heck of a football game, heck of a battle. So
emotional swings left and right. Any impressions about that game? Anything that stuck out to you?
I am glad that we have Julian Sayin. I'm very glad that we have Julian Sayin.
You didn't like Krenzel?
No comment.
No comment. Terry Porter is hated in South Florida. Yeah, everyone knows his name. All that game live. Yeah, I was at that game too. And it was a good time. I had a blast. But I did, they even like everyone rushed the field when they thought Miami won, and I was like, oh man, that was rough. That was a rough way to go out. But then the second overtime happened. 16 in 2002. Great year. My Raiders and Lakers made it to the big games too. Oh.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Krenzel. He was clutch, man. Can't hate it. Like when we needed a big run, he got it. And he was tough, dude. I'm telling you.
Hey, at the end of the day, he's a national champion, and nobody can take that away from him.
Yeah, can't take that ring away from him.
Nope.
And he was from Michigan.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Wilhelm, he had quite the game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more familiar with his son, who is now committed to Ohio State, but Matt Wilhelm, heck of a game. I saw that you posted a clip of your interview with Matt Wilhelm.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
A couple years ago. Yeah, it was pretty fun doing that. He's a great interviewee, and I was surprised at the time that he wasn't like on a podcast, and then he started going on Tim May's podcast after not too long after that. Yep. I don't know why he's not still doing that. Maybe he does one of his own now.
I don't know.
Not real sure. But man, we got Miami, Ohio State tomorrow. It's happening.
Can't wait.
It's time.
I'm gonna we're gonna get some friends over. Gonna have a good time.
Time to be able to like take these Miami fans and be like, "Yo, told you."
I may not be kind on Twitter.
You may not. Are you gonna talk a little bit, Cody?
My Twitter account, I try to keep it as professional as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the playoffs.
Yeah, when it comes to the playoffs, it's time to turn up the gas, right?
I'm not going to go full Brian Buckeye stats, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I keep mine as professional as I possibly can.
Yeah, I mean,
Minus spelling mistakes, because that's going to happen.
The biggest thing that I did is I posted a picture of Chris Henry Jr. and I had a bunch of fans in my comment section. So whenever he signed, I quote tweeted all my comments. And it was like, what happened to him going to Oregon? What the heck?
Oh, yeah. Krenzel was clutch, man. Yeah, I can't get over that. Miami fans forget that last drive. It was 4th and 12 when Krenzel hit Jenkins for that huge first down. I don't remember the entire game, but I remember watching the 68 Rose Bowl with my dad. I was 11. That's pretty impressive, Sage.
Wow.
Pretty impressive, man. 68 Rose Bowl game. Yep. Anytime you win a national title and you went undefeated,
Hey,
he's a legend.
I can't say a word about him. Hats off.
Mr.
Hats
Buck.
off.
Damn, I was born in 76.
07, baby.
Didn't Miami have a 4th and 1
1.
at the goal line and could get 1 yard plus a pivotal hold on Chris Gamble that wasn't called, but they point to one play and blame their loss on it? Yeah, exactly. There was tons of calls, I'm sure, in that game that were either called or non.
It's every game. Every game.
So, but yes, the hold on Gamble was absolutely atrocious, and I believe he made the catch too on that play, and they called it incomplete. And that would have made the game over in regulation. So you should, Miami fans, just be happy with the 2, overtime extra minutes that you got.
Yep, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And it was 1-3-03. I was 27. Templar Brutus says. Yeah. Miami actually had a 1st and goal at the 1 and couldn't score. I believe that defense was so good. It was just it was a lot like this year, just a stout defense all across the board at every position. And Gamble playing both ways. I think they said he played like 96 plays that game.
Wow.
I don't think he came out.
That's impressive. You know, I was watching the game, and as I was watching, I can't imagine if Sean Taylor were here today, where he'd be. I think he'd have a gold jacket for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And then did you see the Willis McGahee injury too?
I did not.
Oh, man, that was awful. It was one of the worst knee.
I knew C. Grant, he went out early in the game but came back.
Yeah. C. Grant ended up having the sack at the end of the game that won it on Dorsey.
Yes, and I knew that. What do you play in the intro? What play is that?
That's the sack at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was the double overtime sack.
And
it says, and the Buckeyes win the game. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, football tomorrow.
Yep.
And then all day on Thursday, man. The games begin, brother.
Can't wait. Can't wait for it.
Until then, I gotta get off here. Go get sleep, get rested up for the big game day tomorrow.
I gotta go eat dinner.
All right, man. Well, enjoy that. Peace out. God bless everyone. And as always,
go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Take care. Have a good game day tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And good luck, Canes, because you're going to need it.